I always try to separate the science from the industry of sports, the science of a sport from the industry of the sport, and probably at the same time separating out the ethics or lack of ethics from the sport. Sometimes they all collide. Doesn't happen all that often. I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing, but sometimes they all collide together. Not here. Not on this subject. This is not a collision of the science of sport. This has nothing to do with what happens on the field. It really doesn't. It has nothing to do with the game itself in this particular case. And I can talk about and nerd out with anybody, particularly when it comes to football, the science of football. It's just science to me, the game. But this is different. This is not about that. I don't like to repeat topics from the show and podcast. I don't. Try not to do it. They come up every now and then. These big subjects come up off and on. They sort of circle their way back, and all that's cool. You always try to keep, remember, the rule is just be compelling. Introduce content that's compelling. That's the rule. But this was dumped on me yesterday. I don't know how I didn't know it before. Maybe I intentionally didn't know, but it was dumped on me yesterday. And I thought it was a joke. I really did. I thought it was a joke, which was kind of fun. And then I did nothing but react. So I'm not sure I put it all together all that well. So this will be a more streamlined and I hope more vicious rant. A direct and vicious rant. I suspect it'll be very clear. I'm not saying you have to agree. I have no problem. If you disagree, bring it. But I'm pretty certain I'll be clear with my opinion of this. To get this out of the way right up front, because this always happens with me if I talk about anything related to the University of Texas, then there's always, you must suck up to them or you must hate them. It's impossible for people to see anybody being objective at all, but I'd like to think that I mostly am very objective. I went to Texas. I played football at Texas. I was a team captain, a member of the academic honor roll at Texas. I grew up wanting to play football at Texas. I grew up watching Texas football. I grew up sitting in the knot hole. Nobody even knows what that is anymore. I grew up sitting in the knot hole as a kid going to Texas games. I graduated from Texas a few times over. For a long time, I was a member of the faculty at Texas. I love teaching at Texas. What most people say about college students is not true. I admire the students in the faculty. I admire what they strive to do. I admire their work ethic. Most people ranting about college students have no idea what they're talking about. My experience on that college campus, I didn't say football field. I didn't mention the football field at all. I just said I spent time there. I have great memories there. Great admiration for my time there and the people that played before me. But the campus itself, I have great admiration for the students and what the place is supposed to be about. I care about the campus. I admire and respect the people that teach, and I admire and respect the people that strive to be great students. You know they're our future. For all the political ranting, for all the hate, which is one of the most disconnected things I hear people do and say, you really should be cheering on college students and not hating on them. But they're our future. The standard of living in this country is largely dependent on those students and faculty. They deserve respect. I'm saying that. I don't even teach anymore when I say that. So the industry of college football is completely separate. The industry of college football, the business of college football, in particular, the industry of the SEC, and specifically the Texas football program. Okay, did you hear all three things I just lumped together? The industry of college football, the SEC in particular, and the Texas football program are all so tone deaf and disconnected, they are clueless to any level of moderation and restraint. They haven't just lost their way, they have no compass at all. The three things I just mentioned have no compass. Not only do they make more money than everyone else, okay? the SEC and Texas, particularly Texas. Not only do they make more than anyone else, and by the way, don't do this thing. Don't look for little fights and say, oh, you must be against people making a lot of money. Not really. No, not at all. But not only does Texas and the SEC make more money than anyone else, they flaunt that they make more money than anyone else. And I know a lot of people think that's cool and funny. I don't think it's cool and funny at all, especially not now. The SEC is throwing a party, you can't make this up, to welcome Texas to the SEC. Ooh, isn't that fun? No, it's gross. I said gross. I think that's what comes to mind for me. If you've got something else, you can say it. But I think it's gross. I think it's over the top. I think it's in your face. I think it's bad form all the way through. I didn't say making money is over the top and in your face. Flaunting it is gross. Flaunting it to college students in their face is especially gross. So what is reported, what I thought was a joke yesterday, I really did. What I thought was a joke yesterday is very true, and it's very gross. It says, any number of places where you look to research the story, it says Pitbull to play free concert during UT's SEC celebration. Okay, in late May, this is set for June 30th. The UT SEC celebration will include interactive games and activities starting at 2 p.m. on June 30th. It'll be 110 degrees, including a Ferris wheel, a giant slide, and more, and more. The event will also be the first time Longhorn fans can purchase Texas and SEC co-branded merchandise. Fans can also take pictures at various photo ops, blah, 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 learn about the SEC at the SEC Village, blah, blah, blah. Live music will start at 5:30 p.m. on the Tower stage in front of the UT Tower. The music lineup will finish with a 9 p.m. headline performance by Pitbull. I could keep going, but I don't really need to because it's gross. It's gross. I didn't say Pitbull's gross. Ferris wheel's not that gross. If you want to have a Ferris wheel off of Ben White Boulevard, that's okay by me. But a Ferris wheel at a concert with Pitbull or anybody for that matter at the UT Tower is gross. The whole celebration is gross. You don't need to do it. Nothing is gained. $1 isn't made. It's gross. Well, Jeff, what's the problem with people having fun? It's a carnival atmosphere. What's the big deal? Okay, having fun isn't a problem necessarily. Having a carnival, I could really care less. Is it a big deal? But here's the problem I have, and I would like to think other people have the same problem, which doesn't mean you can't like football, which doesn't mean you can't be into football, which doesn't mean you can't even cheer on your school or team. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being gross, being over the top, just flaunting it. And the thing is, they're flaunting it on a campus of which they have no connection whatsoever. That should hurt everyone's feelings. Ultra-rich football programs don't need to flaunt their gross spending. Okay? I didn't say take their money away. I didn't say don't make the money. Stop flaunting your gross spending. On most college campuses, people aren't flaunting money. They're struggling for money. They're struggling to make it through college, and they got there by their own merit. Football powers operate separately from the campus. Got it? Don't let anyone lie and tell you otherwise. They operate separately, and they enjoy operating separately. The only connection most football powers have to the campus itself is the title and the logo. That's it. Football Inc. Now you know why I call it Football Inc. Football Inc. operates on its own with its own rules. So to pretend that you're part of the campus is a lie. It's a sad, disgraceful lie. It's not the first time I've said this before, and I'm not saying this is someone that has no experience whatsoever. It's a gross lie. So don't pretend you're part of that tower when you're not. You don't even live by the same terms and rules. So that's an ugly lie. That's why when somebody says, how could you be against them, having this celebration on the campus? Because you know what's theirs? That stadium. You know what's not theirs? That campus. That's for the people in backpacks. That's for the teaching assistants. That's for the people winning, Nobel Prizes. That's for people protesting. That's for a lot of things that aren't gross football. And I would think anywhere anybody went to school, I would like to think you felt the same. See, Football Inc. needs to stay in its gaudy lane and not flaunt itself to the people on campus that are not about flaunting wealth. Most of them struggle. A lot of them have lost their jobs. They're grinding every day, just like many of you did in campus. I lived the special life. I lived the privileged life of a scholarship athlete. I lived it, man. No one is treated like that. No one's treated like royalty like that. Certainly not graduate students, certainly not struggling students, certainly not struggling faculty. You don't live that life at all in college. And to disrespect them by flaunting a concert with Pitbull and flaunting joining the SEC, there's no reason for this party to take place. There's no reason whatsoever. The deal's been done. In fact, some people, and I wouldn't blame you if you had this attitude, if you were a member of Baylor, you went to Baylor, you went to Tech, you went to any number of schools, you would say, you guys suck. You blew this whole league up. You blew up the college football landscape. They did to make more money. And then you turn around and throw a party about it for no reason. This isn't a game. It's a party. It's a party to celebrate their wealth, flaunt their wealth. That's all it is. And they have no filter, none. Like never once, apparently, does anyone say, "Man, I don't know about this. We don't need a party. We're all going to get rich. We're spending money like crazy. Do we really need to have Pitbull in front of the tower? What do we need to do that for?" Someone might, it's kind of offensive. Guys, let's just back off and get back on our lane and go do our football thing and stay in our own place. The students that grind every day that walk around college campuses that I admire greatly, their path is not the same pipe dream of the NFL. Okay? And this is a party with Pitbull, and it's gross because it's taking over the college campus of which those programs, this one, has no connection. That tower is not the football program's tower. They have a tower. They have a Taj Mahal. They stay in a little bubble. They live in their own world. That's theirs. They earned it. They pay for it. I think it's sad they live that way. Look, I did. I had friends. I know exactly what it's like. But it's not the campus. The tower's not theirs. So, I'm not going to argue this is World War. It's not the end of mankind. It's not terrible stuff. I just think it's another continuation of gross, of no filter, of no level of restraint in saying, my God, we can't do that. That's a little much, man. That's weird. Pitbull in front of the tower? We're celebrating ourselves? We're throwing a party for ourselves just because? Flaunting excess. And I wish more people were critical. That's another thing I'm amazed about. There's a difference between the science of the game, being a fan of the game, and stuff like this. To me, I just don't know why more people aren't critical. I don't get that. I'm confused by that. By the way, it's blowing up on social media. I'm not surprised by it at all. Story on social media that's all over the place with plenty of videos is it shows, so when Texas football recruits come in, apparently the Texas staff team, Football Inc., lines up Lamborghinis where they come in. And I don't mean one Lamborghini. I mean dozens of Lamborghinis. Yeah, that's why they win. That's why they're going to win. No one will spend like them. If you were 17, hell, if you were 47 and you walked up to a place and they said, take a look at what you can have, and it's a lineup of Lamborghinis, you'd sign on the dotted line too. If you're 47, you'd sign up on a dotted line. That's how they operate. But now it's made its way to the tower. It's made its way to the campus. That's gross. I think it's gross. So who do I blame for this? Right? Everybody wants to know, are you blaming somebody, Ward? Yeah, pretty much. Sure, I'll do it. It's pretty easy. The governor of Texas appoints, who went to Texas, by the way, who appoints the Board of Regents. The University of Texas president answers to the Board of Regents. I mean, that's the chain of command. That's the way it's always been. But in my opinion, not a popular one, by the way, with plenty of blowback, I'm sure, but in my opinion, in many ways, the board has become a political pawn. We now live in a more political, polarized world than ever before. In some weird, twisted way, if you have an R next to your name, college is the devil. College campuses are the devil. Austin is the devil. And so, in my opinion, the board has become more political than ever before, become more of a political pawn than ever before. And the University of Texas president has become a yes man to the board instead of being an advocate for the campus. That's my opinion. Now, most of you have no idea who those people are. That's cool. But that's who I'm blaming. I'm blaming that there's this love affair with excess. There's this love affair with who cares what the campus thinks? Who cares what the alumni think? Who cares? So, yeah, I blame all those entities. They, at one point, some of them, in my opinion, somebody should have said with power, because there's only 3 entities that could make these decisions. Someone should say, no, back off. No. Be better than that. Don't give off that look. You don't need to go there. We don't need to go there. Pat ourselves on the back. We're going to get rich in football. We're going to be the richest in football. But we don't need to throw a party with a Ferris wheel and pit bull. That's a bad look. Don't do it. I can't believe none of the people involved. It's disappointing. None of them said, show some restraint. It's gross. It's gross. Tell me I'm wrong.